Next to the US, flood and high wind warnings are in place for millions of people right now. Southern California was hit by its first tropical storm in 80 years. Well, Storm Hilary has been downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone, but we're going to take a look at some of the destruction. We're going to focus on these areas: Los Angeles, Palm Springs and neighboring Cathedral City, Death Valley and Las Vegas over in Nevada. Well, these are the latest pictures. They show the devastation caused in Cathedral City. Cars have been abandoned there, as you can see in the mud, people wandering around. An absolutely dreadful, devastating scene there. And it's not just abandoned vehicles. Well, this is a slightly bigger vehicle, isn't it? An RV. These pictures come in the last hour or so. 2 people stuck in the mud there in that camper van. As you can see, they're isolated there on the outskirts of Cathedral City. Over to Los Angeles. Some of the iconic Hollywood locations were hit by Storm Hilary. These pictures are from Snapchat, the social media app, and that's the Hollywood Walk of Fame, of course. And these pictures are Universal Studios, of course, film studio and a theme park there in LA. Now to Palm Springs. California's Governor Gavin Newsom says the city received more rain in a single hour than ever before. And take a look at these pictures from Death Valley. Death Valley, you may know from, is famous for its extreme temperatures, extreme heat, but now the desert environment there has been inundated with water. And over to Las Vegas. The rain triggered severe flooding there. Hundreds of flights cancelled at airports in the city. And in Victorville, near Los Angeles, some people watched as the floodwaters inched closer to their home before finally making the decision to leave.
Like, all that started within an hour or two, and then just kept piling up, and the water keeps coming further back up the street, and just more and more. Lives can't be replaced, material objects can. And it's better to just replace the house, fix whatever gets damaged, than risking somebody drowning over something that's avoidable.
And California's governor gave this update on the now many problems being tackled by the state's emergency services.
There's an old ancient curse that loosely is translated, say, may you live in interesting times. Certainly interesting times. Tornadoes, lightning strikes. I've got CAL FIRE worried about wildfires because of the winds, not just the tornadoes. Walk out of the OES, the Office of Emergency Services in San Bernardino, check my phone and learn about an earthquake that originally came in at 6.0, appears to be closer to 5.1. There were over 13 aftershocks just in the drive over in the Ventura region. These are certainly interesting times.
Well, storm chasers, weather enthusiasts have been following this. One of them is Jaden Pappenheim.
With this storm, personally, I was not down there to chase the event or document it. But what I've, experienced from it, what I've heard, it is more of an unusual storm, especially for the area. But as far as the desert Southwest goes, when we talk about any amount of rainfall, that can lead to life-threatening flash flooding. And that comes with just your daily monsoonal type thunderstorms, right, that tend to stall out on top of mountain peaks and dump that torrential rainfall, creating those rapidly developing flash floods. But when you're talking about a storm with that magnitude that is dumping heavy rain over a large area, we call it a rainfoot. When it dumps a huge rainfoot over a large area, then you get into the category of serious to severe problems, like we have witnessed in some of those smaller towns or places like Los Angeles with that life-threatening flash flooding.
And we're going to cross now to Los Angeles. John Baird, reporter at KNX News in South California, is there. Thank you very much for talking to us. Just, if you can, talk us through what's happening there right now in LA.
Well, the situation has much improved over the last few hours. The rain's gone. The sun has finally come out. I don't see any winds. But I noticed up the street here, I'm in Sun Valley, the north part of LA, see a lot of water still running down the gutters. You fly through an intersection, it's like a boat, with all the water splashing up. So there's still plenty of water running flooded areas across the entire region, especially out in the deserts, as you heard. And there's going to be a lot of cleanup to be done. I just came from a house where a tree just split in half. A huge tree came down. Fortunately, not on the house because there were 4 or 5 or 6 people, a whole family in there. It came down on the 2 cars and crushed them like a couple of bugs. We've had trees down and power lines, and now, really the cleanup begins.
Yeah, and what have been the worst hit areas there across Southern California?
Well, I would have to say the desert areas. I mean, we had some intense storms, as you know, over the wintertime. We had some of the most rain we've ever had in 4 decades. Rain and snow, we got hammered. So people compare this storm to that one. We did get a lot of rain in a short period of time across the entire region. But I think the desert areas like Palm Springs were hit the hardest. When I worked there as a young reporter, I started there in TV, and I remember an August day when it was sunny and nice in the morning. By noon, it clouded up, and at 2 o'clock, half a block down the street from the station, cars were being swept away by floodwaters. That's how fast it can happen. That's what the danger is.
And so what are the authorities there now? What's the scale of what they've got to try and do now?
Well, I think that there is a lot of cleanup, but I don't know that this is really a whole lot different cleanup-wise than what we went through in January and February when we were just hammered by storm after storm after storm. They've got the streets and the power lines and the trees to deal with, the flooded areas in Palm Springs. I don't know what that's going to involve. That could be a long-term project. But we've been through this before, even though we haven't technically had a tropical storm in LA in 84 years.
And just looking forward now then, just before I let you go, you're saying the conditions are much better. The sun is out there. Is the worst of it now all over?
Yes, the worst of it is over. Probably ended 4 or 5 hours ago. But the rain, even, at 4 o'clock this morning, California time, the rain was still pretty intense, and driving was still really dangerous. And I have to tell you, that's one of the big dangers when it rains in Los Angeles. We have triple the number of car accidents on the freeways that we do when it's not raining. It just gets really bad, really slick, and you end up hydroplaning and slamming right into a freeway wall.
John, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you.
All right, take care.